Well, we're technologically advanced this week, which is causing a most amazing number of mistakes and restarts that you can imagine, plus a few blunders by myself in the cooking department. I now have a headset and a microphone, which I hope is going to make the sound better, especially if you all pause when we play it back. And we now have, believe it or not, 3 cameras. It is driving me a little insane, but hopefully the end product is going to be wonderful. We're going to make we're going to make shortbread biscuits to go with your lemon posset today. And I've got all the ingredients measured out, so I'm sure you have, so we'll just go straight over and watch me do it. So I've got butter, sugar and flour. Now you'll know that the sugar is much less proportionally than it would be if you were making a cake, for instance, particularly a sponge mixture. Now, it says in the original recipe, which is not the one I sent you, that you should use a food processor for this. In fact, I probably will send you that recipe as well. I didn't know who had a food processor, so I thought I'd better not use a food processor. I'm nothing if not equality-minded. So I'm using my dear old Sainsbury's £10 mixer, which I hope you can see, and doing it like that, and I hope that's going to work. I have got a food processor. But the other thing with food processors is, to be honest, when you have a little amount like this, trying to cream it, which is what we're trying to do, you spend so much time taking it apart, rubbing it down and making it mix in, that actually it's a bit of a waste of time. And you lose some mixture under the blades and things. So I thought I would do it with my mixer. Obviously, that's going to make a lot of noise. So clearly, I'm going to switch you off while I do that. See you in a minute. Okay, so this is now mixed together well. It's not creamy, like fluffy, as I say, because your ingredients are not in the right proportions for that. You've got half as much sugar to butter. So it's not going to go really fluffy, but it does need to be soft because you're now going to incorporate the flour. Now, I've tried doing this completely by hand. This time I'm going to be brave and I'm going to do it with my mixer. I want it to form breadcrumbs. If you're using a processor, you would tip it all in and you would just pulse it until it became breadcrumbs. That's another thing with a processor. It's very easy to overmix. And instead of breadcrumbs, you get the dough straight away. So I'm going to tip this in. I'm going to tip about half of it in because I'm not sure how it will work. And I'm just going to switch that on. And it's going to, I think, I'm going to put the rest in. It's not quite breadcrumbs because some of it has mixed in a bit more, but I'm going to finish it by hand. But I think you can see this is perfectly doable without a food processor, which was the point I was trying to make. I'm trying to make these recipes inclusive for everybody. And I know I told you all to go and buy a £10 mixer, but I'm not going to tell you to go and buy a food processor. So a £10 mixer is not too bad, and you will use it such a lot. So here we go. Now, when this is all breadcrumbed, which you can see it more or less is, you turn it out to mix it into a dough. Pull it all together. Now, I'm going to do some of that pulling together in my mixing bowl, because if you tip it all out now, it's going to go absolutely everywhere. And although my worktop is beautifully clean and shiny, there's bits of butter where it's all flown everywhere while I was mixing it. I think it's easier to try and get it a little bit formed into your dough before you tip it out. So just do this for a bit. It's getting hard. So there we are. You've got a dough. I'm going to tip that out now. I'm going to make this little board which shows me exactly where the camera will see me. I hope you'll still get to see me. I'm going to move that over there. This all out, but I'm going to try and get some of it into a dough before I do so. See how that's working. I think that works really quite well. Now, This is going to be very short crust pastry and shortbread. The word short means that it's going to be, technical term, it's going to be a bugger to roll out, okay? It will break up as you try to roll it out. And that is why, at this point, once you've rolled it and formed it into a dough and kneaded it a little bit, that's why we're going to then chill it for half an hour, because it will make it easier to work with when it comes out. So you need to knead it on your worktop into a dough as opposed to its component parts, okay? I'm not sure actually, when I have my new worktop, if you will see things as clearly, because it's going to be white, and I think the black shows things up quite well actually. So I might have to rethink. I'm not going to rethink my worktop. I'm having white, whatever you think. But I might have to rethink how we film. Maybe I need to be on something. There you can see, there's my dough. It's still got some cracks in it, which is what happens with short crust pastry, shortbread. And you're now going to wrap that in cling film. And you're going to put it in the fridge for half an hour. I'm going to have a little chat with you before we... That's in the fridge, bottom of the fridge, which is the coldest bit, as you know. Cold air drops, hot air rises. So that's going in the bottom of the fridge for half an hour. And meanwhile, I'm going to talk to you, so quite a lot of camera that I can talk to you. Okay, it's got up close and personal. You might like to think about how you're going to cut this out when you roll it out. It will be very baby and short. So you want quite small cutters. Now, I've picked out 4 of my favourites. This one is a little baby fluted cutter. You can see how big it is. And it's got lots of pretty flutes, so it makes quite a pretty design. I've got a star, which would be pretty. I've got a flower, which is slightly bigger. It's also pretty. And I've got, well, this is actually a whole set of playing cards, but it's got a heart. And no, says she, not showing you the heart. It's got a heart, which is rather nice. I have found actually, since having met Mrs. Williams, that I need to buy all sorts of things like cutters in a million shapes. So I've got, it's gone an Easter egg. I've got gingerbread men of all sizes. I've got pumpkins. You wouldn't believe what I've got. But so if you have children coming, grandchildren coming, you can make gingerbread men from these biscuits. And they wouldn't be gingerbread, shortbread biscuits, but you could make little men that they could decorate with Smarties and things. Or you could do, something you could do Easter, could cut your Easter biscuits, couldn't you? So that's my advice, is to use a small cutter, because when you roll it, as it breaks, you don't want to have to roll big areas. And I think little biscuits are prettier when you serve them. I wish I had a Scotty dog cutter like the Sainsbury's shortbread biscuits are, because I love those, but I haven't got one of those. So I must look on Amazon. I haven't spent anything for a little while on Amazon, at least 2 days since I had a delivery, so maybe I should do that. I will see you later when the half hour's up. Another thought, so we're not pausing for half an hour. 2 things. While this is chilling, don't forget to put your oven on in about 20 minutes, so it heats up ready for you rolling them out and baking them. But also in that time, you can make your lemon posset, because that doesn't take very long to make. Or you could prepare all your ingredients for the beef stir fry, which we're going to cook later, which is what I've done. And behind me, shielded by my body, is beef cut up and ready to go in its marinade, which is what I'm going to be doing in the half an hour. So that could be something you could be doing, is making your preparations for the beef stir fry. But I will see you in half an hour. Right, I've got my biscuits out of the fridge and I'm starting to roll them, and you'll see, A, they're quite hard, and B, they are very short. So you have to keep putting them back together as you roll. I think maybe I would have left them, I would have gotten them out slightly early if I'd have realised how bad that was going to be. So we're just into one. I need to have them the thickness of a £1 coin, which is quite thin. And I'm going to line my tins as ever with baking parchment, because I think that's always easier than risk everything sticking. For the cost of baking parchment, it's really worth it. So, let's look at my baking parchment. I was talking to you then and you weren't going to get my baking parchment and just line my tin. It's supposed to make 16. Now, we all know what we think about amounts they say it's going to make. And you're supposed to use a 6 centimetre cutter. Now, I measured mine, and this is far less than 6 centimetres, but it's still the size I think I want to use. Most of the other ones are... my timer telling me to take this out of the fridge, but I've already done it. So, there we are. You see how you've sort of stuck it together as you go along, and you're going to keep doing that. And I would suggest that you have in your hot little hand a palette knife, just slide under them. Okay, so I'm going to do these. I think these are very pretty. See what you think. Look, how about that? Now, it's probably thicker than a £1 coin, so I'll try and roll it a bit thinner. Quite tricky. And a bit thinner, and a bit thinner. This one a bit thinner. Make it a £1 coin. And that's better, isn't it? That looks more like a £1 coin. So I'll pop that on there. I'll do some of the others as well, but I think this is just the one I like best. It's just, now, as you can see, maybe a £2 coin. You think maybe a £2 coin? How many did I say it's going to make? 16. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Make more than 16, isn't it? But it does, of course, depend on how thin they are. I haven't yet got the palette knife out. I'm using Granny's knife. Hold on. But I will get my palette knife because it will be better. That one's got its edge knocked off, so that's one I forgot. So when they're done, what you do is you re-chill them for another 5 minutes because you don't want them to spread. So once they're done like this, you're going to chill them again, and you're going to prick them with a fork, make some little holes in it, and sprinkle them with caster sugar before you bake them. So prick it and pat it and mark it with B. So I'm going to push this all together again, have another go at rolling it out. And of course, if you move it and the warmth of your hands gets into it, it will be easier, she says. Hopefully. It's really, this isn't easy, I have to say. But as long as you accept that this is what they're going to look like, they'll taste delicious, but they're not easy to roll out. And I haven't put lots of flour on because I don't want it even shorter by even more flour going on. So just a little bit of flour here and there, just to be able to keep it moving. But luckily, as I say, my worktop is quite good for that. So I'm quite concerned about this, my thought of my new worktop being white, because I think this shows up quite well, doesn't it? I hope it does. I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at the recording. But I hope this shows up fairly well because it's against the black. So what have I got? 2, 4, 6, 8. I've got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 21, 22. Bear in mind this is much smaller than 6 mil. This is about sorry, my measurements mixed up there. They all are. But of course, the other thing about them is you can freeze the dough or you can freeze the biscuits. And they'll keep in an air in anyway. You can give them away. My my 3 possets yesterday. Bob and I had one each. I'm going to give one to my neighbour And I'm going to give her hers all prettily decorated with biscuits. So she's going to do much of it on its own. And it was absolutely lovely. It is my favourite toast. So there we are. There's one tray of them. Okay, so I'm going to put those. I don't know if I can squeeze another one in there. I think I might have been a bit ambitious. I think I might. I'll just put one more. And I don't want to squash them. I'm going to put those back in the fridge for another 5 minutes. Remember to self, first make room in your fridge. So then I've got, obviously now I've got to do another tin with bakewell paper. I'm going to use scissors this time. More biscuits. So these can go on because they're done. And once again, we're going to do another re-roll. You know the score. You don't need me to tell you how to do this, do you? But you can watch me anyway. Otherwise, what would you be doing with yourself? It's a bit easier to work now because it's slightly warmer. Just a little bit of flour just to enable it to move around the worktop. Not a lot. Don't make it any shorter than it is or you'll be in real trouble. I think this is going to be my last lot. To feel how thick it is. Obviously, if you use a bigger cutter, you'll get a much more sensible number. I've got lots of baby ones. And that's fine by me. Oh, look, its corner's fallen off. Another one for Bob. Right, I'm going to switch you off because I'm just going to fiddle with this last little bit. And how boring. Keep watching me doing this. I'm going to switch this off and when the 5 minutes is up, I'm going to show you me pricking holes and shoving them. And then we'll put them in the oven. Oh, see, that's not easy now, is it? That's breaking up really badly. I'll just do another couple and then I think we'll do a little knobby bit for me to eat. I think that's being rolled now. Do that. See, I should have done bigger ones and then it wouldn't have any trouble. Anyway, so these are going to be little knobby bits that I can eat. Okay, I'll put you on pause. Apparently my recording didn't pause as I thought I had, so sorry you had to watch me being boring there, but I got them out of the fridge. These are the first ones, so it has their 5 minutes. I'm going to put some holes in them. And they need to be sprinkled with caster sugar. And you have a sugar grater of some sort. A couple of lovely ones. This is just an everyday version, which we'll do for this. Beautiful with the silver top there, but I did have a beautiful silver owl that my dad gave me, and it went missing somewhere along my life. So a little bit of sugar on them, like that. And as I haven't had breakfast or lunch, I'm getting rather hungry doing this. Right, so they're going to go in the oven. Okay, just like that. And they're going to the oven, having had their 5 minutes, and they're going to go in for, well, it really, as you know, how you know all about this, it depends on your oven, but 10 or 12 minutes, you don't want them very brown. So I'm going to put them in. I put mine in for 10 minutes, okay? And oh, there we are. Hello. It's good. I hope you can see me. I put them in for 10 minutes, but I'm going to keep an eye on them because it could be that about the 8 to 9 minute mark might be enough. In the meantime, my other tray will want to come out and be pricked and covered in sugar, and then we'll see what they look like. Okay. So, but I think I don't think they'll need 12 minutes. They certainly won't want 12 minutes in my oven. You need to just keep an eye on them. There's nothing worse than over browning them. So. Okay, we'll put you on pause again. And this time I hope it'll pause. Okay, I've had these in for 10 minutes. They're just, can you see them? They just get very slightly brown around the outside. So I'm going to put them in just for another couple of minutes, but I'll turn the tray around so the slightly browner ones are at the front. They shouldn't brown differently because it's a fan-assisted oven, but we all know that technology is not as good as it could be. But also, what I'm going to do is put my second tray in on the shelf underneath. To start with those shelf. Maybe the shelf. Start. I'm just going to give those another couple of minutes, but I am keeping a very weather eye on them because they will, I don't want them spoiled. So we're going to give those 2 minutes and the ones on the top 10 minutes. So 2 minutes for the ones on the top. But I'm just keeping an eye through my lovely clean glass door to see what they look like. Okay? Now I've taken these out. They're just very faintly golden brown, which is what you want. You don't want them dark at all. And I'm putting them very carefully with my palette knife onto a cooling tray where they will crisp up as they cool. So that's my first batch. And these ones that were at the back are slightly browner. But it would be, if you left them in any longer, they would very quickly go over brown. A bit like, have you made Melba toast or toasted, you ever toast almonds or something, and they go from nothing to, oh, I'm burnt in a very short space of time. So there's your shortbread biscuits. I'm going to change cameras, I do believe. This camera might show the colour of these a little better. I've tried on my others and it hasn't worked terribly well. So maybe you can see that they're just lovely, faintly golden brown, and they're crisp already. They're crisped up already, although they were softish when they came out of the oven. So that's your shortbread biscuits, to your lemon posset, and a lot of other things by the look of the number I've made. Enjoy. Bye-bye.